Volcanic landscapes, pineapple and tea plantations, coastal beauty, and captivating natural lakes. Let me share this journey around São Miguel Island with you. At the end of the video, you will know if this island is something for you and how to prepare for your visit. The Azores is an archipelago in the mid-Atlantic consisting of 9 major islands. We visited the biggest one, São Miguel. People view it as the main island or main island to see, even though officially it's not registered as such. São Miguel is well connected with other major airports such as Amsterdam, Toronto, New York, Lisbon, Porto, and many others. The major reason why people visit this island is because it offers magnificent hikes. My boyfriend and I love spending time in nature, so for us it was perfect. I want to share with you what hikes we did and our impressions from each hike, so you will know which hike to pick for yourself. So this is the beginning of the hike. I like foresty green hikes that give off this mystical vibe from the Lord of the Rings. Pico da Vara is exactly that. I like this hike so much that if I lived in Azores, I would do this hike every day, despite it being very challenging. The way up was tough. It was steady/steep up for 2 hours. So when we reached the top and you see me being aesthetically happy, it's justified. The visibility was poor, you could not see anything, and on top of that it was cold and super windy. The way back is the same as the way up, and it took us approximately 1.5 hours. Nearly at the beginning or the end of the hike, depending on where you are in your journey, we saw a herd of these cute cows, and my boyfriend could not resist an urge to share his apple with them. Harshly rejected. Fun fact, for every inhabitant of Azores there are 2 cows, so there are literally more cows than people in Azores. And when you're traveling around the island, you'll notice that. We had to do this hike to challenge ourselves to see if we can complete approximately 20 kilometers. We are not a good example of how long this hike takes because we like to stop at every tree and take pictures and observe the beauty of the hike, but approximately took us around 6 hours to complete it. This hike goes around the 2 lakes. So when it's not foggy, you can perfectly see the 2 lakes and it's so beautiful. On a side note, these cows must be very happy to have a meal every day with such a breathtaking view. A big chunk of this hike goes through a dirt road where cars occasionally pass by, and when they do, it gets quite dusty. That's probably one of the biggest disadvantages of this hike. The hike initially goes up until you reach the peak, then it goes up and down, sometimes it gets more flat, and only maybe the last 5 kilometers or so, it constantly goes up. We went all the way from that peak, all the way here, and that's only 30% of the route.
And we have a lot more.
A lot more to go. The final 4 kilometers were not as enjoyable because they did not feel safe. We had to hike on a car road along other cars, because in Azores, roads go like this. Cars would not see us until the very last moment, so we really didn't feel safe. I hope that the Azorean government will look into this. Happy, but we're very tired. Very tired, yes. Overall, I think it's an amazing hike to do, to challenge yourself and to observe the beauty of the lakes, but I would not do it again. This quick hike is similar to Janela do Inferno, but it's shorter and without the tunnels. I will leave the exact name of this hike in the video description below. It took us around 2 hours, and this hike starts at a nearby city and transitions into a nature hike. My boyfriend has experienced another rejection by a cow right at the beginning of the hike, but we quickly forgot about it because the first part of the hike was so beautiful. It was humid, green, and again these scenes from the Lord of the Rings movie. After the bridge that goes through a dried out river, the hike became less picturesque, but it was still nice to do. deers are definitely the highlight of this hike. I like the foresty part of this hike, and we even found an abandoned house offering an amazing view. It's not the hike for the whole day, it's only 2-3 kilometers, and it took us less than 2 hours counting all the stops and laying on the grass. If you have a few hours before your flight, or you have other activities planned on the day and you don't want to get super tired, this hike is a great option for you. Of course, we tried to do the famous Lago do Fodo hike. The keyword here is tried. The Azorean government closed the road for everyone except for shuttle buses from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we did not do the hike, but after 7 p.m. we came there with the car just to check out the view, and as you can see, it was very successful. Last year we did more hikes in Madeira. You can compare the two by watching this video. I will leave it somewhere here. Besides the hikes, there are plenty of activities to do on the island. The island is famous for its volcanic landscapes, creating awesome natural hot springs. There are a few different ones you can choose from. They are well maintained and fairly crowded, so make sure to purchase your ticket ahead of time. They let groups in every 1.5 hours or so to make it less crowded, but to me it still felt busy. We visited 3 different hot springs.
Viva o samba de partido alto, de enredo, de roda, de choro e canção. Viva o batuque no couro, no aro, na faca e no prato e na palma da mão.
This one became my absolute favorite because of the facilities. The previous owner brought flowers and plants from all over the world. He was really into flowers, which is seen because the garden he created is so gorgeous. On the note of hot springs, we drove a bit to Fumarolas Lago das Furnas. I really found these mud pools and steam vents fascinating. They're very similar information to hot springs and smell like sulfur, but the water's temperature is much hotter, nearly boiling, or sometimes is boiling. There we could see how locals make their unique, famous dish called cozido das furnas that they stew in volcanic steam. Later in the video I will share with you where you can try this dish. I always thought that a tea plantation can produce only one type of tea, but apparently the tea type is a result of the post-production process. So this tea plantation can produce many different types of tea, like green, black, and many others, and has been doing so over a century. This tea plantation has a cafe that closes at 6 p.m, but you can explore the tea plantation after that. What surprised me is that the tea there is free, but if you want to get some dessert with your tea, you'd have to pay for that. You will see a lot of greenhouses to grow pineapples on the island. What I found curious is that it takes around 2 years for a pineapple to grow. I thought it was a much quicker process, which makes me appreciate the labor of the people who do it much more. Given the number of pineapples on the island, you'd expect that the pineapple juice would be everywhere, right? But it was quite hard to find. There are a lot of different viewpoints on the island. For me, the most favorite one was Farol do Arnel with the lighthouse. The lighthouse is impressive, but there is more to see than just that. Right before you reach the lighthouse, there is a viewpoint with incredible views. The water is such an amazing color. It looks like something out of a movie with all the filters, but here it's real. If you go all the way down, you will access the ocean, and from there the view is absolutely stunning. We decided to go for a swim here. First impressions of swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. For the first maybe 30 seconds to a minute, it's really cold, and then the pain subsides and you start enjoying it. So don't forget your swimwear to dip in the ocean. Another incredible viewpoint of this island is this church. You should definitely climb all the way to the top, not only for the view is incredible, but also to hang out with the friendliest cows on the island. Finally, we got accepted and they let us pet them and feed them, as if without us they would never be able to find this delicious grass. There are a lot of different waterfalls on the island. We picked the Salto do Cabrita waterfall as it was close to these hot springs. We only explored Ponta Delgada and Nordeste, but we're not big on city trips when we have nature to explore. So we quickly checked out the cities, but we did not spend much time there. Just finished my surf lesson in Azores and it was like washing machine. So heavy. And that washing machine happened on the whitewash while we are intermediate surfers. The conditions were terrible and dangerous, but the school did not call it off. They let a bunch of people who did not know what they were doing into the water. If you have never surfed before, be aware of schools that prioritize business over ethics. They carry on with the lesson even though the waves are way too powerful, there is no channel, there is no pattern, and they cannot guarantee anyone's safety. I've heard that in Azores, the conditions are usually not the best, but when it's good, it's very good. So hopefully you will get more lucky than us. After all the activities and hikes, your body surely needs to recover. And for me, massage does wonders. This time I tried a new type of massage called Lomi Lomi. And it's not what you think when you hear the word massage. The Lomi Lomi massage is the whole ritual with you setting an intention at the beginning. It's quite difficult to describe what's going on, but you just sense some changes on the energy level. My go-to is a deep tissue massage. So it was a bit challenging for me to accept the Lomi Lomi massage at first because it's much more gentle and relaxing. But what surprised me is that the benefits of the Lomi Lomi massage remain much longer in comparison to an average deep tissue massage, which is exactly what we need after a busy life in your country, all the hikes and all the activities. I will leave in the video description below the masseur that I have. I can highly recommend him. He is very professional, very intuitive, and there is just something very proper about him. If you decide to give this massage a chance, which I think you totally should, tell him that you're from Tanya and say hi. We didn't expect that here you need to book a table in advance, even in places that are in the middle of nowhere and don't even look appealing. So definitely keep this in mind, especially for days like Mondays and Sundays where most of the restaurants are closed. During our stay, we really liked the Rustico restaurant. This restaurant is located in one of the pineapple plantations, so all dishes have a pineapple theme and are very delicious.
Viva a Portela, viva a Mangueira, viva o fundo do nosso quintal. Viva o samba de partir do alto.
So good. We really like the bar Kalura for its view and service. If I were you, I would definitely ask to be seated next to the water if it's possible, but be aware that they don't accept reservations, so if you want to visit this place, you need to come and wait in the line. Santa Barbara Eco Beach Restaurant. We initially confused it with the bar that is located next to it, but in the bar they only serve sandwiches and snacks, so if you are hungry for a proper meal, you need to go to the restaurant. We also returned here for the sunset. As you can see, the portions are very generous and the desserts are delicious, so I wish I had a second stomach. Jardim Natural Food and Coffee serves amazing breakfasts, but the highlight of this place for us became observing this duck-like looking creature. At Tasca has very high reviews and doesn't take reservations. The food indeed is very good, but you might have to wait in the queue for 15-20 minutes for lunch and possibly longer for dinner. The famous local volcanic dish you can taste at Quinta. We had lunch there when we visited these natural pools. If you're looking for a more fancy experience or have something to celebrate, I recommend Terra. Since we're talking about restaurants, here what you should expect to spend in Azores. Dinner at an average place would cost you around 60 euros. Night at Airbnb would start at 70 euros. Renting a car would start at 50 euros per day. These costs depend on the season and where you are in the island. In general, the prices are comparable to the mainland, and it feels like here in Azores they're even more expensive. If you've been to Madeira and thought that Madeira is moody, check out Azores. Azores can have all 4 seasons in one day, so I highly recommend wearing layers. Check this out. I had a cotton costume and it was comfortable because it was nice and sunny. Then for a hike, I changed into a waterproof jacket, fleece and long sleeve shirt. At some point, I took the jacket and fleece off. Then I took it on again, but when we were finishing off the hike, the sun was shining, so I got my hat on, applied SPF and was wearing a sports bra with leggings. The whole trip can be much easier and much more comfortable if you rent a car. The roads are good and it seemed to me like it's much easier to drive here than in Madeira. I just got my license and I still dare to drive, so if you don't feel comfortable, here are my tips. First of all, ask for an automatic car. If you're from the US, it goes without saying, but here in Europe, we still mostly drive manual. Secondly, ask for a smaller car. We had Renault Austral. I felt comfortable driving it, but when it comes to parking, it was a disaster. Also, finding a parking spot in the city for such a big car was challenging. And the last one, anticipate better. Easier said than done, but hear me out. At the lighthouse Farol do Arnel, my boyfriend went all the way down with the car. And the road goes like this and it's very steep. So when there are 2 cars, one going downhill and another uphill, it can get very complicated. And now also add the pedestrian to the mix. Because he's an experienced driver, he figured it out, but when he asked me, what would you do? My answer was, I would not put myself in this situation. There is a parking space right before the road starts going crazy. I would leave the car there. In terms of what to wear, you really need everything waterproof because it might rain any moment. Having good waterproof shoes is a must. I was really struggling with which shoes to pick and I chose these Salomon shoes and I'm extremely happy with them. Not only do they look stylish, but they're also super comfortable and totally waterproof. Look where I walked and they kept me dry. Not sponsored, but I wish. In June, gloves were not extremely necessary, but it added to my comfort. I had to put them on a couple of times as I was climbing up. Even though the weather looks gloomy, the sun can come out any moment, so you should always have SPF and a hat with you. If you're a beginner, don't forget to pack sandwiches for yourself. Our very rough calculation is that for every 10 kilometers you need 1 sandwich. We always carry with us protein bars, cookies and fruits, and my boyfriend also packs eggs for himself. The good thing in Azores is that tap water is drinkable, so you don't have to buy water. São Miguel in Azores has a lot to offer. Hikes, waterfalls, hot pools, tea plantations, cliffs, cows, you name it. It's very diverse and so unbelievably beautiful. The Azores scores in my books 9 out of 10 because 10 out of 10 is Madeira. Madeira is an absolute winner for me and set a very high standard. We often paid 60 euros for a dinner for 2, including a meal and a non-alcoholic drink at an average place. I'd be happy to pay half as much. To me, the price-value ratio was absolutely off, which left a mixed aftertaste, even though the place itself is absolutely incredible. What's your impression of the Azores? Do you still want to visit it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you're looking for other unique travel destinations, you should watch these videos. I'll see you there. Bye!